Melissa's smile didn't falter. She knew she had won, or at least that's what she believed. I could feel the heat rising behind my ribs, the tension coiling like a spring ready to snap. Andrew, sitting there in his polished office chair like a king surveying a conquered land, didn't see me. He couldn't see what I was about to unleash. I turned, collected my things with deliberate calm, and walked out. Each step echoed in the empty hallway, the sound a metronome counting down to tomorrow, because tomorrow, the board meeting I'd scheduled, would peel back every layer of deception, every shady deal, every lie Andrew had wrapped around the company like a shroud. Melissa lingered by the glass office wall, whispering into her phone, probably reporting on my departure as if it were a headline. I didn't care. I had already laid the groundwork for the reveal that would make her arrogance collapse. Back in my apartment, I spread out the folders and digital backups I had spent months collecting. Emails, contracts, invoices, proof of the embezzlement, mismanagement, and underhanded tactics that had enriched Andrew while erasing me from my own creation. The night was long. I reviewed every page, double-checking each date, each transaction. By the time the sun began to creep through the blinds, I had my presentation ready. The board would see everything. No omissions, no embellishments, just facts, cold and undeniable. Tomorrow the firing would feel different. Tomorrow the tables would turn, and Andrew, with his smug smirk, and Melissa, with her fake triumph, would finally understand that their victory was only temporary. The boardroom smelled of polished wood and false confidence. Andrew leaned back in his chair, adjusting his tie as if he were about to deliver a victory speech. Melissa hovered near the glass wall, her eyes scanning the room for reactions. Everyone expected a quiet resignation, a simple cleanup of the problem employee. But I walked in, calm and deliberate, carrying the folders that contained the truth. The board members looked up, surprise flickering across their faces. Andrew's smirk faltered. Melissa's hand tightened over the phone she'd been clutching. I began the presentation, each slide exposing the lies, the diverted funds, the manipulations, charts, email threads, transaction records, every piece of evidence meticulously organized. The room grew colder with each revelation. Silence fell like a weight, pressing down on Andrew's chest. By the time I finished, Andrew was pale, his confidence shattered. Melissa sat frozen, her phone abandoned on the table. The board exchanged glances, nods of understanding passing silently among them. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't plead. I let the truth speak for itself. When the last slide faded, the chairman leaned forward, eyes sharp. "We will be conducting a full review immediately. Andrew, Melissa, you're both suspended, pending further investigation." I closed my laptop gently, the click echoing like a gavel. The power I'd been stripped of just 24 hours ago was back in my hands, not through aggression, but through preparation, patience, and undeniable facts. For the first time since that office door slammed behind me, I felt a quiet satisfaction. Justice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It only needed to be precise. Walking out of that boardroom, the air felt different, crisp, almost electric. Colleagues I hadn't spoken to in months offered quiet nods of respect. Whispers followed me down the hall, murmurs of admiration mixed with disbelief. The office that once felt like a cage now seemed like neutral ground, waiting to be reclaimed. I paused at the elevator, letting the hum of the building settle around me. The chaos of betrayal, lies, and manipulation had finally been met with clarity and consequence. No yelling, no revenge fantasies, just results. Every sleepless night, every moment of planning, every folder of evidence had led to this. Outside, the city moved on, indifferent yet alive. Cars honked. People hustled. Lights flickered in windows high above. I felt the weight of 3 years lifting, replaced by a strange, steady energy. A resolve to rebuild not just the company, but my own sense of agency. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. But the fire that Andrew and Melissa thought they could extinguish in me had only grown hotter. And now, armed with truth and tenacity, I was ready to shape what came next on my terms.